So just so let me just start with a modification to the title. I should probably say it's how to choose and use the correct litter bin infrastructure on a budget, which might have got more people here. But yeah, if you're imagining, high-tech goggles that kind of scan your site and tell you what type of bin you should put there, this is not what this presentation is about. Okay. Coming back to reality, I'm from Western Sydney Regional Organisation of Councils, and we're based in Blacktown, often confused for Bankstown, but at one point they were associated with us. But we have 9 councils that participated in our regional waste strategy. The Hills not being a member of WSROC, but part of the strategy. So this is Western Sydney. It's to the west of Sydney. It's a big area. And we have a lot of litter bins. We actually have more litter bins, average number of litter bins per council, more than the Sydney metropolitan average, which is also almost 3 times what the New South Wales average is. We do have some public place recycling bins, not too many, but still more than the average. So with that, how do we decide where to put these litter bins? Well, we have anecdotal evidence, we have experience. They're all good, but it looks a bit like this. So it's a bit like our infrastructure network. So it's not wrong, but it's not easy to pass on to the next person that steps into that role, or when the restructure happens in council and litter becomes a responsibility of a different department. Okay, so how do we document this process, a process that's different in every council and kind of non-existent in some? Well, we engaged a consultant. We engaged Jacobs. They've done a lot of, they did some research for us into effective bin placement. They did a desktop review of the surrounding metropolitan rocks in Sydney, and we also took stock of what was happening in our own backyard. Our neighbours in northern Sydney had also done some work on site types and effective, litter bin placement according to site types, including recreational parks, CBD shopping strips, so you name it. So naturally, I don't know if this works, we phoned a friend. Okay. And then we took a focus and we shortlisted 12 types of bin infrastructure, a few which you would have seen in Leslie's presentation. So some being frequently used by the council, so mobile garbage bins, for example, were the most commonly used across all the councils. We had a couple of councils using solar compacting bins already, and some also looking at underground bins and vacuum systems. So we also took the work that WSROC did and tailored it for our councils, and which resulted in 2 A4 checklists, so one for design and selection and the second for siting and placement of litter infrastructure, something that staff could take it out into the field, tick it off and help them make that informed decision. So after all that research, we put it onto the 12 A4 sheets of paper. So we've got 12 fact sheets on the shortlisted types of infrastructure. So we shared this with our councils and with our ROCs. So basically we wanted to take this information, that the same information and make it available to different people in different roles, whether they were in waste and cleansing or were in sustainability education. Anyone who had sort of input or was looking to review existing litter infrastructure or add potentially new infrastructure. So let's take a closer look at the fact sheets. So this is just an example of the solar compacting fact sheets. So each of the fact sheets, similar to our residential flat building infrastructure fact sheets if you attended that presentation, but they have the same format. So they've got an overview, technical information including footprints and battery life, servicing, suitable locations, guidelines ratings, which we looked at costs, amenities, servicing and sustainability and put a simple star rating onto them. The fact sheet also has case studies and strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so our friends in WSROC took this work a step further and developed an Excel spreadsheet which would basically help to make that decision process even easier. So which would basically tell you yes or no. You know, you put some numbers in and it would say yes, do it, or don't do it. So this is something that David, I think, is in the room. No, but is being looked at to be potentially shared and made available to other councils out of WSROC. So for to stay in the loop of what's happening with that Excel tool, I've got David's email address there, and also this is the link to our 12 infrastructure fact sheets. So I didn't go into each of them into that much detail, but they are available for you to look at and download. So it's kind of like an early Christmas present for you and for the cat lovers as well. So thank you.
Was there any questions for Guada?
Just one question. In that fact sheet, does that consider all beach bins at all? Beach litter bins?
So we didn't have specific types of beach litter bins. If I can go back to the list. So we find most commonly, so the types of bins, actually in our region we don't have beaches, first of all, but you do find we've got small litter bins, mobile garbage bins and solar compacting bins there. So each of them in the site suitable locations, it will talk about things like power requirements and other factors that you might need to think about, and ease of access and even how much frequency of servicing that it would require. So you just have to look at that in relation to the site that you're looking at.
So what's your experience with these solar compacting bins?
Our experience, so with the solar compacting bins, we've only got a couple of councils that are using them, and we haven't heard many issues with them. In the fact sheets, we do have case studies there, so those councils' features in the case studies, we're also willing to be contacted for more information, and I think Waverley as well is happy to share. So if you want sort of more of the case study and the experience, I'd direct you to the case studies within the fact sheets.